this committee or what you're doing, contact him and say, hey, you know, we're willing to sit down soon and with the group and see if he would be okay with coming and saying, hey, and so you could start this process.
Would it be okay to share with him these preliminary projections for job credits as a starting point to see whether, and this was part of what was discussed with the group on the 29th.
Well,
Because right now, you know, I don't know if this is gonna
sure.
work for him or not, but.
Well, the only way you're gonna find out is to have him see it and come and start
So I
in.
could do that on a preliminary basis and then
Yeah,
try to.
I would say, and try to get the group together.
No, I can't get into Dan's head either, but, at this point, I'm sure, and the actual things that he said to me, he is frustrated, and is ready to walk away from the deal.
What does this basically tell us then?
Well, as I understand it, he was asking for a jobs credit of like $26,000 per job, and the discussion was to basically have him make a commitment to stay here. It shouldn't be all at once, but rather over time. But over time in such a manner that it would provide a reasonable buyout in not too long a time period. Because if I understand correctly, the reason for offering the opportunity to buy out would be then he would have equity against which to borrow money for the next phase, next expansion.
I see it's, I got it for 21 years, is that
Yeah,
some proposals?
Well, the smaller the credit per interval, and we talked about, you know, every 2 years versus trying to do it every year, the longer it takes to get to a reasonable buyout. So maybe 2,500 is not reasonable, maybe 5,000 is more reasonable, and if he's coming up with 20 jobs in 3 years, another 20 in 5, and I'm not sure if those are the correct numbers, but he was supposed to be up to 50 in a relatively short period of time.
Well, that's a projection. If
Right, right.
if he can provide those jobs, we would offer him those credits.
Right, based on the
If he
documentation.
can't, or if he doesn't, and there has to be a verification
Yeah,
process built into all of this, and you know, the only other thing that I would offer is some sort of an upfront payment, a cash payment as soon as within the first year, just to not to limit his cash flow in any way, hopefully, but to have him demonstrate
Earnest money, if you will?
having him demonstrate a down payment of some sort of a down payment after the fact. I understand he doesn't have any now. That's fine. But if he's operating for a year, he should. If he's manufacturing the kinds of things that he's manufacturing, there should be cash flow by sometime within that first year for him to make a good faith down payment. That will do a lot, I believe, to sell this to the public and gain him the community support that he wants to have.
he is scheduled to start payments on $500,000 February and in April. February interest only, April principal and interest. So following through with that,
This whole thing
yeah.
is gonna
This
drive
is-
that
Yeah.
ease for him. Well, we can't let this ball stop. If we're gonna work with him, let's like you said, let's react, let's get this going. If we need to get a committee together to work with them, let's get these numbers dialed in, and let's get this proposal built. The longer we wait, the more frustrated he's gonna get.
Correct.
Then it's all gonna be for nothing.
Mr. Chairman, can I interject something?
Sure.
I too am frustrated. I've read the newspapers recently and I've read the articles. I've been doing this for 17 years, working with businesses and getting these things done. From everything I hear from the city, they want to do a deal. They want to sit down. Why can't the parties sit in a room for 3 hours, take Dan's numbers, and come up with a development agreement? You've got the checklist. There's nothing that says it can't be done. And I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm saying both parties have to get together. I'm not aware of any of the facts and figures that we can plug into an agreement. There's nothing. Everything's verbal. There's promises on each side. I don't know to the extent of what those were, and that's fine. Sit down in a room, bring your projections, bring your numbers, let Joyce walk you through the checklist, and come up with an agreement. This isn't anything that's difficult. We need numbers from him. Is it workable? Can he cash flow it? This is a lease. There's taxes. There's principal payments. There's things that interest that have to be paid. The city needs to run those numbers. Is it doable? You can't do it on one side wishing that we had the information. So I'm expressing frustration. The parties just need to sit in a room, bring the numbers, have the decision makers there so that they can come up with an agreement that the council can react to. The EDA has already expressed approval of moving forward. But even if you wanted to today, there isn't anything that we could plug into an agreement that is accurate, because we don't have any information. And I don't think I'm wrong on that, Joyce. I think you needed updated information so that you can plug it in to see if these numbers work. And there's nothing there. He has to come to a meeting. He has to be willing to sit down with these people and give them the numbers so that it can work. I don't think that's unreasonable.
And I agree with everything you said, meaning that,
We could have this
Let's try
agreement
it.
done by Friday if they sit down. I mean, this
Yeah.
isn't something we have to write over. We plug in, we have the
Right.
format.
right, and it's getting together.
And I just don't necessarily see that the city is holding this up. I don't think you have. And if there's been some fault, there may have been some missteps or something, but I think everyone wants to sit down and have a deal done. It's my understanding. It's just, you can't do it without the information.